Kashmir! Jai Kashmir! Jai Bharat! Jai Bharat! Bharat Mata ki! Jai! Bharat Mata ki! Jai!
We have the pleasure of having her here to speak to us today. Ladies and gentlemen, here she is, Joyce Kaufman.
About that. Ask the people of India about that. Ask anyone where radical Islam has oppressed them. Ask the Christians in Lebanon. The list is endless. And if you think it can't happen in America, I'm here to tell you, oh yes it can. And it can happen just that quickly. People are falling asleep over so many of the issues that are out there right now. You know, I hear all these woke people telling me, oh, you have to be open-minded about, well, for instance, gender neutrality. And I never forget an enemy, and I always remember a friend. And I can tell you that over the years, I have stood with Joe Kaufman on a lot of street corners, and we've challenged a lot of different things. We've stood on the corner. I mean, we faced down Hamas sympathizers. We've faced down radical Islamists who wanted to just destroy us on a street corner in Broward County in front of a federal courthouse. So we're not new to this fight. We've been fighting this fight for almost 2 decades, and the fight goes on. Don't get weary of well-doing. Don't give up because it doesn't look like things are going our way. You got to keep raising the alarm, and you got to keep talking to people, because I find that they're very open to a discussion, and all you have to do is provide them with a little bit of information. And if you don't have enough information, read Joe's articles, listen to some of the speakers you're going to hear today. They'll give you the facts, and then you go out and you argue the cause. Because I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm on my way on Monday. I'm heading off to Israel. And people have said to me in the last week, aren't you nervous going to the Middle East right now? And I said, probably the safest place on planet Earth right now is Israel. Because Israel knows who their enemies are, they prepare for their enemies, and then they eliminate their enemies. The United States of America could learn something from Israel, and I'm sure that I will
at least one event and put out material promoting Fala E Insaniat Foundation, a U.S.-banned front for Lashkar-e-Taiba, the group responsible for the 2008 Mumbai attacks. And Fala E Insaniat was not only blamed by the U.S., it furthermore has been linked to the financing of Al-Qaeda and Hamas, and has used the web to promote the official websites of Hamas, Hezbollah, and the Taliban. Having ICNA represented at this conference is a threat to America and our friends around the world. Is a Pakistani Taliban sympathizer who worked with his father Hafiz and others to collect and deliver money to the Pakistani Taliban. Izar provided and attempted to provide material support and resources, knowing and intending that they'd be used in preparation for and in carrying out a conspiracy to... The Kashmir Hindu Foundation. As a displaced Kashmiri Hindu himself, Deepak knows firsthand the pain and terror that radical Muslims brought to his native homeland, India, of which Kashmir is an integral part.
Thank you so much. After the recent release of the movie called Kashmir Files, people saw what happened in Jammu and Kashmir in 1989-90. And in 2003, 24 Hindus were massacred in Pulwama district by the terrorists from Lashkar-e-Taiba. So we have to know our enemy, as Joyce said. And unless until we know our enemy, we cannot do anything. The recent Kashmir File movie showed a lot of things, a lot of killings. Only a tip of iceberg. We have evidence of so many things, so many killings which have happened in Kashmir. I myself, I know one of our priests who used to come to our home as a priest, he was killed in Qatarna. He was killed there. Some terrorists came to his temple and told him that you have to read Quran and you have to convert yourself into Islam. He said, no, I'm not going to do that. At that time, he was doing a puja on Shivling in a temple. He was gunned down right there in front of the Shivlingam, and his head went on the Shivling and his blood oozed out and was dripping on the Shivlingam. So these are inhuman killings which have happened in Kashmir for a long time. And today we are gathered here to show our solidarity. Because of the recent events, we know whole Kashmiri community is galvanized and they want that Kashmiri killings be termed as genocide against Hindus. Yes, that can happen. But what about us? What about our settlement? In addition to the declaring genocide and repatriation that some of us are demanding, what we want is a settlement in Kashmir on our terms. If India or anybody give us any dole, we want a one-place settlement in Kashmir where we have our own right, we have our own statehood, or we have our union territory, whatever you may call it. And we want to have our own police force. We want to have our own military. And I can't say it here, but let me tell you, if they kill one of our men, we will go and annihilate them totally. We will take them to task. But they have to give us that one-point settlement in Kashmir. We don't want to go anywhere else. I live in America. We have so many friends who live here. But when we get our own place, we will go back. We will have our industries there. We will have our factories there. We can survive there. So I request Government of India to know the one fact that Kashmiri Hindus want one-point settlement in Kashmir. Without that, our return is not possible. Thank you very much. One of our Kashmiri friends, he is a Kashmiri activist for a long time. He has been living in the United States, but he is connected with his roots in Kashmir. Mr. Vijay Paul.
We are here to support our Jewish brothers and sisters who are fighting the same war against Islamic terrorism around the world. We are here to talk about the truth. The truth can never be suppressed or defeated no matter what. We are here to expose the genocide that was perpetrated 32 years ago in Kashmir, India. We are here to seek justice from authorities, power now in India for hundreds of innocent men, women and children that were killed brutally by Islamic terrorists, driving out at gunpoint at least 450,000 Kashmiri Hindus from their homes. Let me say again that truth will always win as long as we seek for it. Little bit about the movie. The genocide that happened decades ago is in public domain around the world to watch. It may take time, but truth will always prevail. Just remember that. We in this country were free, supposed to be free, but not totally free. So it is a responsibility. It took almost 20 years, not even 40, 1980, 1940, 30 years for Islamic terrorism to take root in Kashmir. That is how they plan. They plan long term. They have all the time. They have declared it openly several times. Every time. We have time. You don't have time. You react, but we have time to attack you and kill you. So our main responsibility is, besides having rallies around this country and wherever we can, to elect the right leaders. Leaders we elect shape the country and the destiny of the country. If you don't, it's not a political statement, but it's core of my heart. If we don't choose right leaders, we are doomed in this country. These terrorist organizations taking roots in the country, believe me, I may not be around too long, I'm pretty old, but you young people, remember this. If you don't take this statement or my message onwards with your generation, we are in big trouble. The Hindus of the world demand that present administration in power in India pave the way to get back the Hindus in the valley of Kashmir with full safety and security. We demand they provide necessary measures to rehabilitate displaced Hindus without further delay, with honor and dignity. We all have to rise and recognize, catch such inhuman behavior early on, expose it without any reservation, to save humanity. Otherwise, it will continue to raise its ugly head again and again. This is 21st century and should not be tolerated at any level. What happened in Kashmir can happen anywhere in the world if we don't watch things around us. We need to have strong and honest leaders who can protect humanity and the nation they are elected to govern. In conclusion, we cannot ignore and overlook that is happening in Ukraine to innocent people. Let us keep them in our thoughts and prayers. Thanks for coming. God bless all.
Now I would like to invite two little girls, Shejar and Sanvi. They are 16 and 14-year-old. They have not gone to Kashmir ever, but they were born and raised in the United States. I'd like to invite Shejar and Sanvi, please.
My name is Shehjar and I am a proud Kashmiri Pandit. I am a daughter of Kashmir, the land of Rishi Kashyap, Acharya Abhinav Gupta, Lal Ved, Rup Bhavani, and a galaxy of great saints. Yes, I was born and raised here in the United States, but I have grown up listening to the Vedic chants in the mornings and bhajans like Sahibo Satyamichani, Vatmaya Silich Pavatam, meaning, "O Lord, please guide me to travel the righteous path." These and so many more bhajans echo in my mind on my way to school every morning for as long as I can remember. I grew up listening to my grandparents and my parents' childhood experiences from this enchanted heaven on earth where they played in the snow, sipped keva, and ate rot. I have woven my life around my rich culture and heritage, trying to recreate the marriage here, thousands of miles away from our home. Through multiple stories and the seed of knowledge and learning where Kashmir magically attracted many scholars and saints like Adi Shankaracharya, Swami Vivekananda, and so many others, I have often wondered that if the scholars came to Kashmir, why is it that its children, the Kashmiri Pandits, were forced to flee from their homes, not once, but at 7 different times, the most recent being January 1990. This feeling churned up many emotions in my mind as a child, that how could this happen in today's times, that one loving, peaceful community be targeted so viciously, and we're thrown out of our homes, resulting in a mass exodus of Kashmiri Pandits that no one knew about, or I should say kept quiet about for so many years. How is it that in a land where 121 languages are spoken, it is the Kashmiri language which is slowly losing its original Sharda script, which is not taught anywhere today, with only a handful of books and a few scholars who can even read and write the script? I feel we Kashmiri children are fighting an uphill battle to learn our language and keep the script alive for the future. I want to go back and see my lost ancestral home in Kashmir one day, but right now, this feels like a distant dream. When will we be able to return to our homes? When will we be able to go to our home's call of our mother Kashmir? I often ask myself this question: whose fault is this? Why am I and so many other children struggling to keep our culture alive? Why are we being deprived of our basic human rights? Today I ask everyone this question: what is our fault in this? How are we going to save our rich culture and heritage, which is on the verge of dying out? We want answers, and we deserve justice. Thank you.
Namaskar, my name is Sanvi Kaul. I am a proud Kashmiri Pandit girl who has unfortunately never ever been able to go to her homeland Kashmir. Everyone has a place to go back to, but we as Kashmiri Pandits have had our homes snatched away from us. I have heard numerous stories from my elders of the beautiful land of Kashmir, rich with knowledge, culture, and spirituality. Sadly though, I've never been able to experience it myself. As survivors of the Holocaust, no one but you can understand our pain better. Our Holocaust has been going on for centuries now, and not a single person knows about it. This is not fair to me as a Kashmiri child today, and I want kids of my community, like me, to be able to go to Kashmir and experience our culture firsthand by setting foot on our own soil without any fear. Now, after seeing the Kashmir Files movie, I have understood to a greater extent what happened to my community and why it was a genocide, and it just breaks my heart. Why have we been ignored for this long? My heart yearns as a 14-year-old to be able to call Kashmir my home with certainty, and I can only imagine what my parents must be going through. We are the original inhabitants of Kashmir and have the right to go back, and no one can take that right away from us. We want justice for our community. I want and need to go back to my home without any fear, freely, and be able to connect with my roots and have my home back. I will continue to hope and pray and do everything I can so that my Kashmiri community will be able to go back to our homeland and restore it to its original glory once again. Thank you.